Marvel's Ultimate Universe. It was successful, and it actually led the groundwork for a lot of what we saw in the MCU and other places. So, we're going to see a concept like this again? The answer is probably yes. Hey there, this is Perch, talking about the Ultimate Universe. So, for those of you, it's recent enough history that everybody should probably remember what this is. But the Ultimate Universe was something that Marvel did as an imprint back in the aughts, in the 2000s, and some of the background and history behind this is that, first of all, the surface story was certainly that the Marvel Universe had gotten too convoluted, too complicated. It had come off of Heroes Reborn, and there were a bunch of other different kind of shenanigans going on through that. And the idea became our continuity is too heavy. We need to find a way to attract new readers, but we don't want to throw away all the existing readers. Why don't we do for lack of a better word, let's do an Elseworlds take on the Marvel Universe, but let's do it very, very tightly controlled, very narrowly controlled. Let's not try and reintroduce everything in the everything in the Marvel Universe all at once. Let's kind of take our time and do it right. And this led to Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Fantastic Four, which struggled a little bit. The Ultimates, which for all intents and purposes is a lot of what the MCU became and what it was, and Marvel Universe has certainly picked up on a lot of it, as well as a bunch of other spin-offs and crossovers, because eventually the Ultimate Universe couldn't help itself. It had to convolute its own line with a bunch of the extra stories and fluff that the original mandate of the Ultimate Universe was meant to resist. So it had a really good 10-year run, I would say, and then the wheels started to kind of come off, and it lost its footing. The regular Marvel Universe picked up more, I would say, stronger talent in terms of writers and artists, and some of the people coming up there became more interesting. And the MCU, in a weird enough way, the attention that the movies did bring back to comics was capitalized more on the regular Marvel universe than the Ultimate Universe. So as Spider-Man became kind of a big deal, by that point, the Ultimate Universe was on its last legs, and as pretty much dead. I think at that point, I'm trying to remember the timing. I think by the time Spider-Man showed up in Civil War, I believe that the Ultimate Universe was done at that point. We were actually heading toward Hickman's Time Runs Out storyline, but I may be where the two universe, Ultimate and 616, collided and became sort of one. But for a while, it was good, and I think there were a lot of good lessons to learn from the Ultimate Universe, and in particular, it was that original rule of we're going to keep it small, we're going to keep it simple, we're going to not restrain ourselves with past continuity if we want to make this character gay, or this character go in a different direction, or not have the relationship, have Wolverine sleep around with everyone, and have Jean and Wolverine have a relationship rather than Cyclops. That's okay. Let's not worry about it. Let's just push forward and make good comics. Not all the ideas landed by a mile. I think the Ultimate Universe irritated people. It certainly irritated a lot of the purists, the people who had been around for a long time. But it not nearly as much as when they've made changes to the main universe. If you think about the kind of the uproar of Colossus being gay in the Ultimate Universe, it was barely a blip. And when you do the same thing with Iceman in the regular universe, you had a pretty big uproar that continues today. There are people who I ask for people to send me questions and things they want me to talk about. One of the frequent topics is, at what point do you think the Marvel Universe is going to ungay Iceman? And the answer is never. They're not going to go back. You can change things one direction, but you can't change things the other direction. It will be fascinating, though. I mean, I don't know. At some point, some comic book. I don't think it will be anytime soon, but at some point, some comic is going to take a gay character and then reboot them as straight, and it's just going to be a fascinating thing to watch, kind of how that roils through social media. I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Can't even think of a character where that would make any sense. But at any rate, it's a one way road for now, folks. That's all I'm saying. But the benefit of having the Ultimate Universe and being able to do different things and have, Sue Storm have more infatuation with Namor, or have, Reed Richards go evil and the way he did, or in the Ultimates, have Captain America and the Wasp kind of dating, but then the Wasp goes back to her abusive boyfriend because she just can't stay away. And just some of these elements, I think, are they're certainly ones that people who are longtime fans of continuity don't like. But they did a good job of positioning the Ultimate Universe as, this is not your universe. This is not the universe you know. This is something different. We're trying a different storytelling approach. We're going to put our best foot forward on it and not overcomplicate things early on and see what we can do. Now, what's interesting is Squadron Supreme did this as well, where they kind of did a new take on that team. And it also did very well. And that had Gary Frank in doing the art chores on that book, and that book did fine. I think that fans and comic buyers in particular, and thus to the beginning question, will we ever see the Ultimate Universe or something like it again? And I think the answer is definitely yes. I think, though, that its success is purely rated by two things. First, are you committing to it, or are you sending a message that you're half committing to it? So by that I mean the Ultimate Universe. For everything else, Marvel did a very good and effective job. Maybe the last really significant good marketing job they did. They did a good job of saying, nope, we're behind this. It's going to last. It's going to be here for a while, and it's not going anywhere, and it's going to be different. We have different fonts. We went to all this trouble to make it different and unique, and we're sticking behind this. They were able to convey that message, whether it was through the trade dress or the comic dress on the front cover, or, like I said, the font, or some of the more consistent art teams. We'll get to that in a second. But I think they managed to sell people on the idea that it's different. It's going to do different things. It's going to take risks, so it's going to disrupt some of your favorite characters. But it's also it's another alternate reality that we are going to commit to and is going to be around for a while. I think that's a wise choice. The second thing that they did that helped make it successful, and if you're going to do this again, you need to do, is commit to a creative team, writer and artist. So even though the Ultimates irritated a lot of people because it was late, there was still satisfaction, and I think there was. They were glad that they waited to get the book done, whether it was the art or the writing or whatever it happened to be, they were it worked, and I think that's something that's important. For if you're going to put this effort forward, you need to actually kind of put your money where your mouth is. You need to put a creative team on it that is strong and good and can sell a title and makes it all work. And I think that's critical. If you do those two things, I think you're almost destined to be successful nearly every time out the gate. And this is what the Marvel Comics, I think, learned, or hopefully learned, is they put good people on the book. They committed to it. They were serious about it, and it sold. And it sold pretty well because I think people do like a jumping on point. I do think it's true, this premise that there are new readers who find the existing continuity just too hard and they'd like to find an easy way to jump into titles. I think that's all true. But at the same time, they are still discerning. They still want a good creative team. They still want to feel like if they're going to jump onto something, it's worth their while to jump onto it, especially at a higher price point. So you've got to both give them that jumping on point and also make it truly a good, solid, stable jumping on point. The other thing is you can't take an existing book and kind of relaunch it as number one and say it's a perfect jumping on point. Jump on. Not many people jump on. They jump on if it's truly a new universe, something that they can read, enjoy, and I think the Ultimate Universe did a good job of that. I think we are going to see this fairly soon. Certainly, I will be unsurprised if DC and part of this 5G initiative is in effect them kind of doing a Ultimate style take on some things where the characters are new, it's somewhat relaunched, and they're maybe to a younger age, maybe it's the next generation of superheroes, whatever it might be, and they'll continue. If they continue those stories on in a very tight curated line, it will work. Part of the new age of heroes for DC, one of the reasons why it kind of worked and then bombed almost immediately. It worked in its initial marketing because people thought, the fans and readers thought, they were getting something that was a unique, a unique trade dress, a unique uh, line of comics that were going to be new, good jumping on points, top talent on them, and they believed that this is something that was an imprint or part of DC, but it was a line that you could jump in with and a bunch of number ones, and you could just really go with it. And then, unfortunately, the word got out before the first issue shipped that a lot of the writers and creative teams and people attached to the books were going to be abandoning within 2 to 3 issues of launch. And that just, it made it almost not dead on arrival, but close to it. It really took the wind out of its sails as soon as there was a symbol that the publisher was maybe not as behind these books as you think. So I do think 5G, though, will go down this path. I think Marvel will likely do so as well. I think it'd be smart for a lot of their kind of their younger audience that they're trying to curate. They're trying to do things with Squirrel Girl or the Uncancelable Wasp or any of these titles that are out there. They would benefit from just starting a new line with all the players that they want. Start your Ultimate Avengers, your next world of Avengers. Put good talent on it, meaning really kind of top tier talent on it, and then have your Avengers that includes Miss Marvel and Inferno and put these characters on it that you're trying to do with Marvel Rising, but make it its own clear universe where you're telling these stories. Where in this other universe, Miss Marvel and Inferno and Squirrel Girl were all founding members of the Avengers alongside Iron Man and whoever else you want to put in there. I mean, go, actually commit and do something like that. I think there's not going to be as much complaining about tarnishing the Avengers name or whatever else you're doing, because it's clearly a different line. It's a different world that we're doing this in. I think that's a pretty solid idea, and I do think we'll see it, like I said, from DC and from Marvel. But what about you? Did you like the Ultimate Universe? Did you collect those? What'd you love? What'd you hate? What was the big negative to the Ultimate Universe for you? Let me know in the comments below. Big positive too, not just negative, positive and negative. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch, and thanks for listening.